In Kaohsiung, a special event was organized to thank the recycling volunteers. In Indonesia, some people are riding bicycles to promote pandemic prevention measures. Selamat datang ke DaAi Headlines, saya Simon Gan. Terima kasih menyertai sesi berita kita. During the Lunar New Year holidays, Tzu Chi's recycling volunteers still gave of themselves at the recycling stations. Kaohsiung Tzu Chi volunteers performed at the recycling education station to express their gratitude for the recycling volunteers. Take a look. Wearing the costume for indigenous people, Tzu Chi volunteers are performing at DaAi Recycling Education Station. They want to thank the recycling volunteers. Seeing the surprise arranged by volunteers, recycling volunteers are very happy.
The master is very wise. 30 years ago, she encouraged people to do recycling without plodding hands. I'm 70 years old and I've done recycling till I'm worry-free.
I have just joined the ranks of recycling volunteers, but I am happy to contribute to the environment.
Today, I'm happy to watch the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters perform. Thank you.
They work harder than people who get paid. Although they are elderly, they work very mindfully. We should learn from them.
The recycling volunteers are happy to give of themselves at the recycling station, doing their part to protect the environment. With the pandemic still going on strong across the globe, Malaysia began shutting down their borders beginning in March of last year. Sharp Electronics started a charity calendar sale last December to raise funds to donate to Tzu Chi to help with COVID assistance. Since the managing director of Sharp Electronics Malaysia has been in Taiwan due to the movement restriction order, an online donation ceremony was held. Take a look.
One after another, they are in a hurry to complete this project because these are PPEs for the frontline workers. To combat COVID-19, different Tzu Chi points in Malaysia have been turned into a small sewing factory to assist in the effort. Tzu Chi volunteers partnered up with teachers to make delicious traditional reunion banquet meals for those students unable to head home for the Lunar New Year holiday. Sharp Electronics donated 417,535 Malaysian ringgits, which is a little over 102,000 US dollars. That amount was collected in less than a month.
We have seen how deeply rooted Tzu Chi is in Malaysia and have seen how at the first possible chance, Tzu Chi has assisted in COVID prevention measures.
做了非常多的一些义举，围栏内的跟围栏外的，我们各自分享物资跟爱心。
Photographs to represent the good that has happened during COVID has been printed into a calendar and has sold nearly 10,000 copies.
募集对象都是我们的经销
We
商，
have currently opened up the calendar charity sales to our business partners and our employees.
自主来发起这样的活动。
受灾情影响的
Those families who have been impacted by the pandemic, whether it's Malaysian citizens, refugees, those without nationalities, or foreign workers, as long as they need help, Tzu Chi is there for them.
外劳如果有需要，慈济都有去支援。
Pandemic prevention is up to both you and me, regardless of nationality, as we all hope for the day for everything to go back to normal.
Due to a flood in 2011, Tzu Chi started the affinity with Ipswich City in Australia. During a recent visit, volunteers not only brought delicious vegetarian lunchboxes to the teaching staff of Ipswich State High School, but also sent blessings to the Tzu Chi volunteers suffering from illness.
When the sun has just risen, volunteers are already busy cooking the most popular vegetarian curry lunchboxes in the kitchen. They are going to meet the teaching staff of Ipswich State High School. They also chat with the principal about his youngest son, who met with the master every year in the past.
My master only allowed twice to touch in front of her. Yeah. And use the hands, say, promise each other see every year.
Because of the flood in 2011, Tzu Chi began to develop friendships with Ipswich City. They also started promoting vegetarianism in schools. This couple of police officers and his wife also developed an affinity with Tzu Chi and became the disciples of the master in 2018. However, the wife was diagnosed with cancer last year. So this time, volunteers specially visited them to provide care.
Made it when you like it, okay? And this master for you. Okay. And then this for my personal Chinese tradition in red color. Yeah. Red for you.
Handing over sincere blessings, Tzu Chi volunteers will always stay with those who suffer to fight against illness.
In Ruifang District, New Taipei City, there's a family of 4 who lives a hard life as the wife is bedridden due to an accident and the husband and children are challenged both physically and mentally. Tzu Chi volunteers have provided the family with an electric bed and also daily supplies. Take a look. The medical electric bed is very heavy as 2 volunteers carry it up 5 floors. Every step they take seems to be very tiring.
The social worker told us that the family applied for an electrical bed, so we only brought the medical electric bed over. When we arrived, we noticed that they lacked a lot of items because they have only just moved in, so they don't have many daily supplies.
The husband and the 2 children are physically and mentally challenged. Miss Zhao is also bedridden due to a car accident. The family is suffering from financial difficulties and relies on the subsidy from the Social Welfare Department. With the help of social workers, the family moved into an apartment in Ruifang District.
When we were giving her a sponge bath, we noticed that there was no hot water in the house. They also did not have buckets, towels, or other supplies as well. They are moving to the place for almost 10 days now, and the family have not taken a shower yet.
After understanding their situation, volunteers ordered a cylinder of gas and also brought daily necessities to help them through these tough times.
When I saw the children hugging each other and sleeping on the sofa, it was truly heartbreaking. It just so happens that we received 2 caretaker beds, which wasn't in great condition. So we quickly headed back and brought the 2 beds over and helped set them up so that they can sleep more comfortably.
We received clothes, innerwear, and also utensils. We've also received an induction stove and electric kettle, which are all very useful. There's also the beds, which are of great help. Thank you so much.
Smiles can finally be seen on their faces. With the arrival of the volunteers, not only did they send supplies, but they also sent much warmth into the hearts of the care recipients. Since 1998, Hualien Tzu Chi Medical Center's Vice Superintendent Chen Peirong has been assisting treating patients in remote areas in Yuli. This allows patients in eastern Taiwan to get treated as they do not have to travel northwards seeking a hospital. Let's take a look at his story.
Because there are many patients, I will have to arrive early, and I must catch the train 5 in the morning, arriving at around 7 o'clock. After arriving, I will start taking in patients for treatment.
He arrives before 7:15, and when he's here, some seniors arrive earlier, but he actually starts giving out numbers around 9.
A 73-year-old fruit grower, Mr. Liu, used to chew betel nuts. 10 years ago, he was diagnosed with oral cancer. After treatment, his face was damaged, which further impacted eating.
搞炸。一刚开始的时候，他是在台北的医院治疗的哈，那当然也治疗过一段时间了哈，那后来就回到台东以后。
At first, he was treated at a hospital in Taipei, but after a while, and after returning to Taitung, he came to Hualien to receive treatment from me. Since it's tough for him to go to Taipei, we discovered anomalies in his teeth after years of tracking.
说他局部的地方好像又在长出来，是在牙龈的部位，那所以我就。
So I suggested him to get surgery. It's good to discover an issue early, because the situation is still at an early stage.
还算不是那么严重，有提早发现。现在感觉有较好哈，这回开了。较高了。
This doctor is passionate and caring for patients. He treated us really well. He told my husband to eat since he can open his mouth now. In the past, when my husband lived at the city hospital in Hualien, the doctor even made several visits. It's rare to have doctors like him. It's really nice. Really thankful to Dr. Chan.
Now Mr. Liu goes back to get his condition checked regularly, as he is treated by Hualien Tzu Chi Medical Center Vice Superintendent Chen Peirong.
In Indonesia, the movement restriction order has made an impact on the economy. Despite that, pandemic prevention measures are still very important. In certain communities, people ride bicycles on the streets to promote pandemic prevention measures. Take a look.
In southern district of Jakarta, community residents are promoting pandemic prevention measures in an interesting way. They team up to promote personal protection. In the morning and the afternoon, the 10-people team will travel in 5 communities, playing promoting recordings in 6 dialects. To remind the residents to wear masks and not gather outside, the community manager hopes the promotion team can raise the awareness of community residents. This way, they could decrease the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the communities.
Lebih mengenal ke masyarakat semua, kita menggunakan sepeda untuk mengedukasi dan menghimbau masyarakat. Ya juga tidak hanya di jalan mereka pakai masker.
We ride bicycles and encourage people to protect themselves by wearing masks at home and when they go outside. We ask policemen for help. They'll warn the residents who do not comply with the regulations. After our promotion, police will find them.
Kita menetap di mana, kita patroli di mana, menetap, kita himbau.
The creative way of raising awareness is very popular. Since people rode bicycles to promote pandemic prevention measures, the public have mostly complied with the regulations.
This is very good. They can encourage people everywhere.
Kegiatan ini cukup efektif ya, mengingat tempat kita ini kan banyak dilalui oleh gang-gang yang memang.
This activity is very good. Since our alleys are narrow, it is difficult for motorcycles to enter, so riding the bicycle is the most convenient, as the riders can reach all corners.
Satu unik juga, kedua efektif sekali karena bisa masuk ke pelosok-pelosok ke dalam gang-gang yang tidak bisa ditempuh.
In Jakarta, Indonesia, there is a lack of cemetery plots. With the increase in deceased COVID-19 patients, cemeteries in Jakarta are running out of space. To face this crisis, Jakarta government has bought 5 pieces of land and is developing them.
Currently, the public cemetery for COVID-19 deceased patients in eastern Jakarta has no spaces. The cemetery management personnel reviews that the public cemetery is promoting a combined burial of families instead of single burial. As a result, COVID-19 disease patients are being buried at a public cemetery in the Western District. Every day, between 25 to 35 bodies are buried here. The public cemetery faces the shortage of land. Since the number of deceased patients continues to increase, Jakarta government has opened up land in Northern District for cemetery use. The 2-hectare cemetery will be able to take in 6,000 bodies. According to plan, the cemetery will be divided into religious regions, including Islam, Catholic, Christian, Hindu, and Buddhist areas. The project started last September and is scheduled to be completed in December. However, only 70% of the ground leveling work has been completed. To speed up the construction, Jakarta Public Construction Office has dispatched 4 heavy machineries and tens of vehicles. According to statistics, every day there are between 20 to 30 deceased patients. Up until last December, 9,000 deceased patients are being buried in the specified public cemetery. Since Jakarta's cemetery is short of spaces, families will not be able to bury the deceased near their residences.
Also in Indonesia, children's education has changed to distance learning due to the pandemic. Teachers from the Tzu Chi Senior High School not only use Zoom for online teaching, but also recorded videos for the students to download and learn at any time. Parents can also accompany their children during the learning process.
The campus is empty while the classrooms are quiet. A green poster is set up as the keyboard to make teaching alive.
At the beginning, the principal shared in a message group that the Mentari group is hosting an innovative teaching competition. Later, 4 of us joined together. I'm very grateful and very pleased to get good results.
We need to maintain our passion in education and always be innovative in teaching. So under these circumstances, when we teach students, even though they are not here to attend classes, they are able to learn as usual.
Following a video to learn with parents stay beside to assist. Whether it's the art or language lesson, students can ask questions and get teachers' replies instantly. The communication with the teachers has always been smooth and they responded very well. As long as children don't understand, the teachers will reply in time. Since the pandemic outbreak, face-to-face classes have been fully replaced by distance learning. The effect of innovative teaching materials has been increasing, while teachers are encouraged to exchange ideas on multimedia teaching so as to help students learn at any time.
Sports technology continues to evolve as new badminton rackets can sense a player's swing trajectory, speed, and even the number of smashes. This is a new badminton racket developed by National Cheng Kung University and Fengjia University, who cooperated with local sports equipment manufacturers. They added sensors to the handle of the badminton racket and paired it through a wireless network connection, which collects data from various players. Follow a report as we learn more.
I can see the many things that the coach talks about, but were unable to visualize before.
With this machine, you will know more clearly what you lack and then your own advantages and disadvantages.
On the court, victory or defeat is commonplace for these competitors, but with technological assistance, players can get closer to achieving their dreams.
For example, if my racket is rotated like this is the x-axis and it will produce such a speed. Then if it is rotated like this, then it will produce data on the z-axis. And then if you look at it like this, it will produce data on the y-axis.
Swing and rotation can be measured as sensors are buried in the grip, which send a signal to the computer. This means that swing speed, explosive power, and smash are all converted into immediate time and data analysis at a glance.
Here's the entire transmission and switch control, as well as the charging IC. This side contains our antenna. We put it in the grip part of our racket.
Traditional badminton training includes simply listening to the coach's instructions. When the players understand or not is something which can be a common problem.
I think this can only become a very general narrative description. Sometimes the players do not understand what we're saying, and they are afraid of upsetting the coach, so they just say, I understand. I know.
A swipe of the racket previously hid many unknown secrets, but this can all be understood now.
I think my weakness is that there are too few attacks because my Q value is 0, so my overall attack is weak.
In fact, there are many similar products available on the market which rely on Bluetooth connections, but typically the system can only retrieve data from a single player. The Wi-Fi badminton racket uses a wireless network and within a game can be connected to multiple rackets at the same time. And the data of multiple players can be expanded on the system. This is the first in Taiwan.
On the side of the racket is a number, and we can pair this with Wi-Fi. After the pairing is done, the data collected by this racket will be put into an account.
There are several characteristics of Wi-Fi. The first is that its transmission capacity is large enough. In relatively high-speed sports, for example, some delicate moves by players can be captured by this racket. The second feature is that it can support 20 to 40 players simultaneously.
2 years ago, National Cheng Kung University cooperated with Fengjia University to jointly develop an intelligent network for badminton. However, before that, National Cheng Kung University had worked on the development of wearable technology for 10 years and utilized this opportunity to integrate it into the sport of badminton. Athletes are covered with sensors all over the body, and the court is surrounded with infrared cameras 360 degrees. This is also another set of badminton technology. This is a high-level imaging system often used for Hollywood special effects. The National Cheng Kung University team used the system to capture the movements of the players and compiled the data with software. In the future, as long as you add sports cameras, you can analyze player data accurately.
We want to use a general sports camera to distinguish and recognize the trajectory of a player's swing on the court, or the change between the angle of some joints of the human body and the angle of movement. Then replace this device that is more expensive with one that is more common.
Images captured and the swing trajectories realistically presented. The smart racket dramatically improves accuracy. At the 2017 Taipei Universiade, the Chinese Taipei team performed very well, signifying the development of domestic sports technology research. The smart badminton racket network has the support of the Ministry of Science and Technology and is bound to set off a revolution in the sports world.
In Los Angeles, the local government has collaborated with various NGOs, including Tzu Chi, to distribute food aid to families in need. We'll leave you these images. Thank you and goodbye.